put in certain disciplines within your life on a daily basis, eventually those disciplines will yield the fruits, but not now. You'll definitely see it in future.
So you're basically providing a solution to African problems, an African solution to African problems, because as you say, our neighboring countries do really experience the same level of poverty that we see in South Africa and unemployment as well.
I think life goes beyond just the money and the profits.
Thank you for joining us on SME Powertalk, Sheldon.
Thank you very much for having me, Tanda.
So now I just want to start from the very beginning. I mean, most of us at the age of 13, 14, 15 years old, we're still trying to figure out homework, how to get out of trouble, a bit of PlayStation here and there, but you were already developing your craft. So do you think this is something that you were passionate about from the get-go? Was it a hobby, or what inspired you to start so young?
Yeah, no, thank you very much for your question. I think at the age of 14 years old, I used to always visit the barber, and I saw the barber as the person in the community that made people feel good. And I can remember so many times visiting these barbers, and sometimes they would just pack up and leave based on the hours of work that they worked for the day, and they just felt now that they're done for the day. And that's where I saw an opportunity, and I was thinking, what if I can be a barber for my community? So I started cutting hair, and I started visiting these barbers and learning exactly how they do it. So I visited these barbers and mimic the styles that they do, and then they started noticing. And was sooner or later the guys started chasing me away, but I just returned with a bottle of cold drink as a bribe for the next lesson. But as simple as it sounds, that was the best way for me to learn something I love. So then at that young age, I used to give free haircuts to all the school kids just to better my skill and hopefully become the barber that when that barber is not available, maybe the guys will come to me.
So was it more of an opportunity or a gap that you spotted over passion at that age?
Yeah, so definitely an opportunity that I spotted. I felt that entrepreneurship. I started actually the entrepreneurship journey at the age of 12 years old. So quite interesting enough, at that particular point, my parents used to give me 2 rand spending. I'm not sure if you can recall, used to get that pocket change.
Yes.
So with that 2 rand, I used to save up for 10 days. And after 10 days, I would visit the local cash and carry, buy a box of ice cream, and go door to door actually selling ice cream. And that was the beginning of something that basically started as an entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so the craziest thing that at that young age, while going door to door to go sell ice cream, the one problem that I had that I wasn't able to speak properly because I used to stutter. So imagine the courage it took me just to go door to door to go sell ice cream, and that for me was one of the things that I overcame at such a young age. But eventually being able to sell out that ice cream and then go back to the cash and carry and go and refill. And that's where the entrepreneurial journey came from a very young age, as 12 years old.
And I guess that experience also really helped you in the spaces that you're in now, preparing you for the spaces that you're in now, where you have to speak to people, you have to inspire people, you have to sell your brand, something that started at 12 years old. And you are absolutely right. It took great courage, But I just want to find out as well, when did you realize that this could be something really big?
I think later on, because you never think that you can make a career out of barbering. I mean, who does that? If you can show me somebody that done it at that very young age, and
very true.
And I wish I could have just learned from that person. But later on, when my cousin had an internet cafe, and I asked him if I could make use of his stoep to mimic a pop-up barber. So he agreed with a condition back then that I come only on weekends. And at the time I was working in Standard Bank, and I always dreamed of being a full-time barber. So then I started out. I can remember this one Saturday, all I had was a clipper and a chair, nothing else. And when I started, the customers came out in numbers supporting me on the stoop. And I always wondered what makes me so special from the barbers that's right across the road from me, somebody that's been in the game for much longer to my own assumption. So then putting my investigation skills to the test and went across the road and see what those barbers are doing. I then realized that for them it was much more of a monetary transaction. So I cut your hair, done, next customer. And I then realized what was my unique selling proposition was that I had a notebook and a pen, and I used to write down the name of the person, the conversation we had, and next time that person would come sit on my chair, I would make reference to that. And that was my way of building that repeat customers that actually follow through.
So where did you learn all of this from? Because that sounds like great relationship building. You know, what made you think, hold on, let me get a notebook, a pen, so that I know who this person is the next time they come here?
Yes. So crazy thing is that I used to work at so I used to work in a call center. So I
Okay.
had a call center. You used to get these calls that's always coming up, and uh, and you could pick up based on the previous note. If it's an irate customer, it's a good customer.
Okay,
So
yes, I know
so
that.
you can definitely pick up from there. And I think based on that data, you'll be able to engage with those customers on how the previous notes are.
And then, so you had a job at Standard Bank, which you were very ready to leave to pursue your business, to continue with your business. You know, and then I know that you went on honeymoon, and then when you came back, a couple of things had changed. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes. So quite interesting enough, whilst cutting on the stoop, a friend of mine could also cut hair. So I said, okay, no problem. Let's become partners
Mhm.
and let's shake on this. So then we started working together, and a couple of months down the line, we approached the landlord not far away from where the stoop was, and we asked him if we could make use of his space that he had to actually do a barbershop. So he agreed, and he said the condition is that you have to pay me on time at the end of the month. And he told us there's no lease here if you don't pay you out. Okay, so we trusted his words and we said, okay, let's launch our very first shop. So the very first shop opened in the 3rd of September 2011.
Sure.
And when we opened, we then gathered guys from the community and basically uh, to upskill them and basically teach them on how to cut hair. So whilst doing this on our quiet days, which was Tuesday and Wednesdays, we then went out to the old age homes and to the schools as a matter of giving back to the
Mhm.
community, but also upskilling these barbers as well that's in our care. What came of it was so fascinating. I felt God speaking to me is like, why not name the barbershop after the old people? Because they are actually the legends of our community. And that's the reason it's called Legends Barbershop today.
Okay.
So,
So, no,
yes.
yes, sorry, carry on.
Yes. So couple of months down the line, I got married. Yes, I am married. And I got married on the 4th of December. And when I got married, I spoke to my partner. He said, it's fine, go away on honeymoon. I got everything under control. So I trusted his words and I went away. A few days later, which was approximately 6 days, I came back to the shop and the doors were closed. And I'm like, okay, what's happening here? So I called him, he never answered, but I called one of the guys that was working there. And he explained to me the sad news. He said, Sheldon, the guy never paid for the rent. But to make matters worse, he never paid for the barbers that was working there. So standing in front of those closed doors, realizing I've lost everything we worked for this past couple of months, just left me feeling devastated, thinking, who am I to think that I can really make a career out of this? So I just continued working in in the bank. So I left barbering right then and then.
I actually was going to ask you, why didn't you just quit? So you left at that point, and when did you return to it? After how long?
So I returned to barbering around 2013. So quite interesting is that we all know that if something is meant for you, it will definitely come after you,
Definitely.
and it's a calling that has been there. And what took place was that uh, around 2013, I was reading a verse in the Bible in Ecclesiastes 11 verse 6 that said, "Do not let your hands be idle, for you do not know what will succeed. So work at it during the day and work at night." So my daytime job was from 8 till 4, and afterwards I had free time and weekends as well. So I then decided to buy myself a scooter and become the mobile barber. So I went out to all the customers and basically advertising on social media that I'm a mobile barber. And that was the start of me actually coming back, driving house to house and actually servicing customers. And that's when we gained the confidence the following year, the 26th of July 2014, we then relaunched Legends Barber.
And so Legends Barber is often described as a community, a place where you can feel at home. Are you intentional about the relationships that you build even now? What role does emotional intelligence as well play in the way that you run your business?
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think Legends Barbershop is definitely a community base, and and the biggest blessing we have is being able to upskill youngsters from the communities, and like the story I shared with you, the model hasn't changed, and we still do it up until today. The nice thing is that sometimes when I visit stores and I engage with customers, and they say, you know what, this barber was the same guy that was sitting unemployed a couple of months ago. Now he's trained, now he can work, and that's the reason why I feel compelled to actually come actually get my haircut here, because I can see what you're doing within a community, and you can see the change that's taking place within our youngsters. The training component of our business is so vital because we find it's a need to actually upskill the youngster, because there's a saying that says, "Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, but teach him to fish and you feed him for a lifetime." And that's exactly what we do at Legends. We take youngsters from the community with no skill, and we show them exactly how to cut hair, and we take them into environment where they're able to flourish, boys and girls. And I think that for us is one of the greatest blessings, just being able to do this in such an economy where we have such a high unemployment rate, where the youth unemployment rate is standing at 68%, which is really massive. So that means that 6 out of 10 youngsters are sitting at home, and 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 some of them, it's not the fact that they're lazy, but it's just the fact that there's no opportunity for them and there's no hope for them, for somebody to create an opportunity. So that's why I feel that we are there to actually create that opportunity for them.
And we all know that the unemployment rate is absolutely tragic. I mean, it's a big problem in our country. But, a lot of business owners just go about and mind their own business regardless. What made you decide that you want to empower youth? Because you didn't have to. You could have just taken your profits and, lived your best life. But what made you decide that you want to provide people with opportunities, job opportunities, focusing on youth empowerment?
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think it's when we started this journey, it was so tough because being able to upskill, you can imagine people coming into our training center that have not picked up clippers in their lives. And there's a 50-50 chance that this person will go through the whole duration of the training center. And now you're also taking in people that is coming with different types of attributes. So people that's joining your training center also coming from different communities. And now you're taking the risk on actually investing people. And I think that investment on people is sometimes underrated, because one thing that you do is not only give them a skill, but you actually teach them on how to be a good man and woman for society. Because one thing that you're unapologetic for is that I'm sure, like when you walk in the office, you'll find there's a Bible on the counter and you'll find there's Bible verses around us. And it's exact same thing at a training center. We actually empower and we instill the word of God within their lives, so we can disciple them in such a way that they are able to flourish within the environment. And this is exactly how we build our business on. And just looking at the youngster, for example, our main initiative is that all the money that we make from the products, from the stores, is plowed back into the training center. And we do this intentionally because we want to see the change in the next person's life.
That's absolutely incredible. So, as you've mentioned, that these people, these young people that you bring on board to the training center are people from different backgrounds, for example, and you focus on the word of God. Is there any element, where you focus as well on mental wellness? Because you don't know the people that are coming in, what situations they come from, and what they had to get through to be a part of the program.
Yes, that's exactly it. And recently, so quite interesting. I'll just share the story with you quickly. So So I went to go cut my hair at one of the stores. I got the haircut. You can see it's still, yeah, it's still looking good. So
Still fresh,
it's still
yes.
fresh. Yeah. So I went to go cut my hair at one of the stores, and as I cut my hair at one of the stores, because we've grown so much, I I tend not to engage a lot with the guys on the ground because it does become a bit crazy, over 800 people. And this one moment, I just decided, let me go cut my hair at the store. And as I get the haircut, I'm busy engaging with this youngster, and I ask him, just tell me more about you. Tell me more about your life. I want to know about where you come from. I want to understand exactly your background. And he starts explaining to me, and he explains to me that at the age of 15 years old, he turned to gangsterism as as an opportunity for him to escape poverty that was in his community. He comes from a, a, a community that is full of gangsters and drug abuse and violence. So he saw that as the only way for him to actually escape this reality. And one thing was that, so he joined gangsterism, and from gangsterism, that was at the age of 15 years old. 16 years old, he dropped out of school. He moved away from his mother's home, and he sought to be basically seeking a life after himself. And at the age of 17 years old, he was shot and he was left for dead. He was left on the side of the road, and 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 he can remember consciously waking up in hospital. That's the only time he can recall. He says he remembers waking up in hospital and his mother telling him these words. He says, "My son, you have to go to the training center because barbering was something that you've been wanting to do all your life, and this is an opportunity for you to change your life." So when he came into the training center, so he explains me the story, and he says when he came into the training center, uh, he still wanted to go back to his community to go do the old things, but there was just something about the training center that just kept him there, coming in on a daily basis, and that was the word of God, and basically being able to plant it in the word of God on a daily basis. You know, when you see people's life being transformed like that, right now, that kid is working at one of our stores and he's doing amazingly well. He's at the age of, I think he's 18 years old now, and he's doing amazing things. And it's just to show you that that if God can change somebody's life that was a gangster, that was that could have been another statistic. I mean, like his life could have been lost. All of the things could have happened to him, but to see his life transformed the way it have, and that is all through what God can do in our people's lives.
And, you know, at 17 years old, he had already lived so much life, so much had happened at such a young age. But I heard you mention 800 people. 800 people where exactly?
Yes, so we have over 800 staff members that's working so we have approximately 81 stores right now. So we have 81 stores that is situated in 5 countries, which is South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Lesotho, and Zambia. And and in this and in these places as well, we also have about 16 training centers. So 16 training centers where we have facilitators, we have moderators, and we have the admin clerk that's actually looking after the training centers, that's training up the skill set. So we have in our training center, as it stands right now, we have about 300 young people that's hungry to actually come work. So you can imagine there's already a pile of people that that is so eager to actually want to get into a job and go work. And it shows you that you know the shows you that the fact that young people are able to take on something that they didn't know that they could ever do, but the fact that they're willing to take on something and do it. I just want to make an example for you. So I visited a training center a couple of weeks ago, and I met up with this young lady, and I'm speaking to her, but she looks very smart. She looks a bit like you, and
Oh,
I'm
thank
speaking to her. I'm speaking to her, and I'm asking her, but you look out of place. You understand? Are you sure you're the right place? She says, yes, I'm here. And I asked her, what may I ask, what were you doing before this? And and she tells me, you know what? I have a diploma in accounting, and I couldn't find a job for the past 6 months, and it's been struggle for me and my son to actually for me to actually get a job. And she says that you know what, she saw barbering as the only, she saw this opportunity as the only outlet for her to feed her son. And it just goes to show, you know what, people will go to that extent to actually feed a family and to actually put food on the table.
Do you even realize the magnitude of the impact that you're making? Because as you're speaking, I'm just thinking that you have changed so many lives, but is it something that you realize each and every single day? Do you wake up thinking 100 more lives changed this month? Or are you very passive about it and just, go about your day doing the best that you can?
Yeah, no, I think much more than anything else. I honestly feel that there is a verse in the Bible that says that we are God's workmanship, created for His works, to do good works.
Mhm.
And I feel this is exactly what we're called to do. We're called to do the good works in other people's lives. We're called to make a difference in people's lives because it's not our own doing, but it's God that's working within us. And if we understand that our purpose is tied in with what He wants for our lives, then you're doing what you're called to do. And I feel that every entrepreneur that's out there is called to do something. It doesn't matter in which environment you find yourself, in which industry you find yourself, but every entrepreneur out there is called to do something. And and that calling goes deeper than just profits. The calling goes deeper than just being able to check the revenues, check the bank balance, just to check if the products is okay. But that calling goes down to the number of people that you impact on a daily basis. So one thing I always say is that, you know, this we might not have a pulpit to preach, but our pulpit that we have is being able to how we treat people on a daily basis, being able how we share God's love with the people on a daily basis. And that's exactly what God has called us to do.
All right. And then your business has grown so much. You mentioned expansion, into other countries, other African countries. How many countries did you say it was?
So we currently have 5 countries,
Okay.
and recently we opened a training center in Zim.
In
In
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe,
Okay.
yes.
So with that, I mean, obviously that symbolizes expansion and growth. What excited you the most about moving out of South Africa?
Wow. So I think out of South Africa, the question I always get is that why not take Legends to the likes of Europe, the States? Take Legends out there because that's where you want to make more money.
Mm.
But looking at the other countries, our neighboring countries, is that if we are able to have the similar impact that we have in South Africa, if you look at majority of our young people, Africa has an age between 18 and the average age of African people is around 20 and 25, and majority of them do not have employment. It's exactly the same crisis that we face in South Africa, is that young people do not have an opportunity. So how are we able to make a difference within their lives and using what we have and being able to set up these schools within the different countries and being able to expand within the different places. So this is share with you. So the first time we ever expanded out of South Africa was to Botswana. And as we expand to Botswana, at that particular point in time, we basically first started off with a training center. So we upskilled youngsters, and and the guys from Botswana was a bit amazed, asking us,
Mm.
why would you, why, I mean, like, this is such a big brand. Why would you want to go to the grassroots and basically take somebody from the community? Instead, you have the capability of actually taking somebody out of any of the shops and placing them. They said, you know what, our main goal is how are we able to stimulate growth within the economy through basically being able to upskill that youngster and giving them an opportunity to actually be the people that can contribute to this economy. And that for us is the bigger picture, not only for a once off win, but it's basically being able to scale this impact across Africa.
So you're basically providing a solution to African problems, an African solution to African problems, because as you say, our neighboring countries do really experience the same level of poverty that we see in South Africa and unemployment as well.
That's correct.
So with growth, sometimes I don't know. Firstly, I want to ask: do you feel that you grew too fast? Before I ask the next question.
Uh, yes, I think for every entrepreneur, there's that there's that stage like where you grow rapidly, and basically the rapid growth also, I mean, like there was a stage in our business where this was right after COVID, when we opened like one or two stores a week, and I wasn't
Wow.
joking. This was one or two stores every week
Right after COVID.
right after COVID.
Okay.
Right after COVID. And this rapid expansion just came from basically being able to supply for the demand and being able to supply for the market that's out there, because we find that one of the main issues that we have is that customers kept on waiting in long queues, and we're unable to service them efficiently. So while we're busy expansion, and now recently we just slowed down a bit, but I feel that growth is still on the cards. We still grow organically, and we still grow in different markets and different places. We recognize that the business has matured much more, but
Okay.
not matured in a way that it's unable to scale. Being able to have 81 stores, we look at things a bit differently now than back then. We used to look at things like our recent concept that we opened. So recently we opened a store inside a school called Saint Stithians, and this was quite interesting because once because it was a teacher of the school that actually approached me and asked me, Sheldon, uh, would you ever consider opening
Wow.
a barbershop in a school? I was like, you know what, I never thought of it. And I won't lie to you. So we opened, and the school is doing phenomenally well. It's that barbershop is is really busy, and it's just to show you that the people out there understand exactly what the business is all about, understand exactly the type of market that we're targeting, and understand that there's still growth potential within this business. So as it stands right now, there's still plans to open a number of stores in this next couple of months, and I'm really excited for it.
And it also shows you that opportunity can be found anywhere. And the fact that also, I think is very impressive that you didn't even think about it yourself, but someone who knows and recognizes the value of your brand came to you and
Yes.
said, I think that this could work.
Yes.
Okay, so the reason I asked the previous question with regards to if you think you grew too fast, if your business has grown too fast, is because I just want to talk about culture, right?
Yes.
The culture of a brand. Sometimes when a business grows as rapidly as you describe, you can or you risk losing that culture. So how do you ensure that, for example, a branch in, so for example, I've been to your Northgate branch, offers the same vibe and energy as one in Harare, one in Botswana, one in Newcastle and KZN, for example, without losing your brand identity and culture?
Yeah, no, culture culture is definitely what makes the business what it is.
Mhm.
And so our culture stems from the training element. You understand? Where our training side is much more focused, not only from the barbering, but also if we do franchise store, we also train our franchises to adopt a certain culture that's within our space. We understand that this culture that we're driving is a culture much more serving, much more of being able to say, you know what, this environment that we work in, like like many of the times we'll tend to have franchises that will join, and they're like, no, Sheldon, what can I do? Because I can't cut hair. What can I do? And then I explain this type of concept. So the concept that we have, like, like in corporate, you have this triangle where the boss sits on top and it just commands the shops, and that is basically the boss that's basically in corporate. And but majority of how we treat our people, we think of it much more of a servant leadership type, where basically the boss will actually sit at the bottom, whether it is Sheldon or ever, and ask each and every day, it's like, how can I help you? How can I make your job better? How am I able to serve you better? How am I able to ensure that you can be the best person that you're called to be, not only in this workplace, but also in in basically your life. And I think many of the times we underestimate the power of basically investing in people. And this is exactly what creates the culture within the business. The business without so many of the times people will ask, the business makes X amount of revenue or the business makes X amount of EBITDA, but it does not stem towards the type of culture that you build, because the culture is basically what everyone is after.
Mm.
And when people walk into your space, people are like, you know what, I get to experience what it's all about. I get to experience the laughter. I get to experience the joy. I get to experience everything that this brand stands for. And this is exactly how to build a solid brand over the course in time, instead of just taking the shortcuts where where as I made mention, is that if you're thinking of taking shortcuts, you'll take on the wrong people for your business. You'll take on basically, I wouldn't say they're not wrong, but they're wrong particularly for your business, because there's a certain type of people that you would like to actually adopt within your business, and that's the people that you want to attract. And most of the time, we tend to shortchange ourselves and not put in those restrictions in place to say, you know what, there has to be a Bible at the reception. There has to be devotion taking place every morning at our stores. There has to be certain. So every single thing that we set is basically tailored to all stores, and everyone understands what we're trying to build.
Sure. It sounds like you run your business in a very holistic way. I mean, there's the religious and spiritual aspects of it. We've discussed the mental wellness as well. And I know that being an entrepreneur is so demanding, in the sense that, it's demanding physically, mentally, and emotionally. We haven't discussed the physical part. So how important do you think it is to stay in tip-top shape so that you can do each and every single thing that you do with 81 stores across 5 different countries?
Yeah. So yeah, like a couple of months ago, I went on a journey. About 18 months ago, I went on a journey to actually start a weight loss. So I used to weigh around 128 kg. I was very big, so 128 kg, quite big. And whilst weighing 128 kg, I thought to myself, is this the type of leader that you'd like people to perceive you as? You understand? And there's also like certain restrictions from being able to carry such a load. I mean, like there's certain restrictions from the clothes that you wear, from the things that you do, and 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 then I decided to intentionally go on a journey. So I went on this journey, and I went on a journey to actually take care of the self within me, because most of the time we take care of the business as entrepreneurs. We focus much more attention on the business, but we lose track of the self and the person. And although the two is tied, if this one tends to fail, this one will also fail eventually. You understand? So you are a direct reflection of your business, you see. And if people see this person, people like, "Oh, you know what, this is how their business is." So now I went on this journey, and I won't lie to you, it's like it's been a total transformation, not only from being able to lose the weight. I mean, I lost over 42 kg.
Oh, wow. Well done.
Yes,
Okay.
I lost over 42 kg. But not only that, I've 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 understood the key principles in being able to do things incrementally. Like for example, like people always out here are always looking for instant success, insta instant growth, instant wealth, and it's always become an insta thing where people want to grow. But one thing that I've noticed is that it does not always work that way, because we understand that once you're able to put in certain disciplines within your life on a daily basis, eventually that those disciplines will yield the fruits. But not now. You'll definitely see it in future, and that's exactly what I tend to do now in my life, in my business. And I take that same lessons and I apply it. And that is where transformation takes place.
And it's actually so much easier once you've conquered it in one area of your life to apply and succeed in every other area of your life. So, and you've got a charity run as well.
Yes.
Now, is that linked to, was it more giving back to the community, or was it directly linked to health and fitness? Are you encouraging everyone to lose weight and not, go on a 2-week crash diet as people tend to do?
Yeah. So so no, not one of those. It's quite interesting that when I went on this journey about, and this particular race was the event that I participated in. So I can remember in, in my community, this is the only event that takes place. And it takes place around February each and every year. And people get excited for this event. So I ran 2024, and when I ran, I saw so many people come out in the community. And I was like, back then there was about 800 to 900 runners that participated, and obviously they over the minimal resources that they had, they tried to pull off what they can do. But it was really a highlight for the community, because the community saw it as, this is something that actually brings the community alive. And uh, and then I decided, to actually be part of this particular race. Quite interesting enough, I won that very same year. I won an award, the Entrepreneur of the Year, and the cash prize was around 250,000. And I took that money and I said, you know what, I'm going to give this money directly to this township marathon, and I want to be part of this marathon. So we invested that funds and we renamed the marathon the Legends Township Marathon. So it's no longer Township Marathon, so it's now renamed Legends Township Marathon. And when we gave into this and we said, you know what, we're going to fully support this marathon from everything that we can, from our capacity and all manners possible. Uh, so this was back in 2024. The following year, Feb 2025, we had our first race together. And I won't lie that over 3,500 people came to run the streets of El Dorado
Wow.
Park. It was so amazing. Such an amazing experience. Just being able to get the vibe, being able to see how people celebrate within the community. And it was truly, truly remarkable. This year, just a couple of weeks ago, we had our second one, and basically it took place again in El Dorado Park. This year, we had 5,000 people that came through. It was actually sold out. And what was much more remarkable than anything else is being able to see that people coming from different places. Like we had over 5 countries that actually participated. People from Zambia, from China, people from Mauritius, all people that just came through this race,
To
through this
support the
particular race.
marathon.
Yes, just to
Okay.
come support the marathon. And it goes to show that, people can see the good work that's actually taking place within within the community. And we all know that, I mean, like, it was such an amazing event. There was also like over 32 vendors that came through. And these are local businesses that we empowered, and we said, guys, come and expose your product, your service for free to over 5,000 people that will be here. And it came through. Majority of these vendors were sold out, small businesses, and it was just that's how we stir the economy from a township scale, and just being able to see the difference that's been made within their lives. Because many of these entrepreneurs, I spoke to them afterwards and they said, you know what, if it wasn't for that opportunity, they wouldn't understand the potential of what a brand can be. And that was one element. And we all know that when a marathon takes place, when these type of events take place, people pack the bags up and they go, and it's done, and you only see us again next year. What we said was very intentional, that we are going to go back into the community and we're going to plow back everything that we made back into the community. So quite interesting. A week after that, we then went to a local school. And guess what we done? We actually put up a rugby facility. And the rugby facility with a couple of our partners that came on board, Suzuki and HEF and Discam Foundation, all of these partners that came on board to support this rugby facility that we put up in the community of El Dorado Park. Come I tell you something, that our communities where we're from, we never saw a rugby ball before. And to see that these kids are playing with a rugby ball, I mean, that warms my heart, because we didn't have the opportunity like that. And so that facility was set up. And then we look at what are the next elements that we continue to make within a community, because there's so much opportunity. If you think about it, there's so much need that's currently taking place. And if we can make a difference within a community holistically and each and every month, why not through the vehicle of the Legends Township Marathon?
And with regards to the marathon, the way that so many people showed up, just a few weeks ago, as you've just said, it just shows that sometimes it's not that people, no one wants to sit and do nothing. No child really intentionally wants to go out and be naughty and, do bad things or be involved in things that they're not supposed to be involved in. Sometimes it's just lack of opportunities, lack of entertainment, lack of like really extramural activities. Even, you spoke about rugby, which your community has never seen before. And if people within that community, like yourself and anyone else in any
Yep.
other community, do not provide those opportunities, the cycle is just going to
The
repeat
cycle
itself
will
over and
continue.
over again.
I definitely agree. I just want to share a story with you. So I noticed there was a kid that actually was running in our park run. So basically, we host these park runs that take place within a community. And I noticed this kid this one Saturday run within the park run, and this kid he came, I think it was 6 or 7 in this whole park run. It's like a small kid at the age of 12 years old, and he came like around there, and basically came through. I saw him, but I saw the shoes that he was wearing, and I was like, "Are you wearing Crocs?" And I'm like, how can he run with
He
Crocs?
ran with
He ran
Crocs.
with Crocs. But it's not the real Crocs. It's those Crocs that you buy
Mm.
at China Mall. And I was like, okay, we have to do something about this. So I spoke to this kid and he says, you know what, he wants to run in the marathon. So then we said, you know what, let's get him a pair of shoes. We actually got Akani Simbini to actually sponsor the Adidas running shoes. And he met up with Akani Simbini, and it was so amazing that kid was being able to run in the Legends Township Marathon. And just to see that, who knows, maybe that kid can actually be the next Akani Simbini.
And you never know, it could happen. And it could have been something that was started or sparked by an opportunity that you gave him, also affording him the opportunity to meet someone like that. Sure. Are you always intentional about the things that you do, especially within your community?
Yeah. So that's exactly it. I mean, like if so many of the times I get proposals and I get opportunities, like people coming through and people like saying, you know what, Sheldon, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. But but if it does not lead towards the impact of people, then I don't want to be part of it.
Mm.
And something that I intentionally said from the beginning, and it's something that I feel God has placed in my heart, is that I honestly want to make an impact on somebody's life. And I feel that if I'm able to do that, whether it's through things like the township marathon, whether it's through training like the Legends training centers, or whether it's to just being able to go out to the community and go feed over 1,000 people with food parcels, that for me excites me because I understand what it is not to have, understand what it is to struggle, I understand what it is to grow up with parents that weren't working and didn't have money in the house. So you're speaking to somebody that understands the struggle, but is also able to to uh, to make a difference from their point of view. So so when I look at things moving forward, I look at, okay, how am I able to make an impact? How am I able to help? How am I able to? So I wake up each and every day not thinking what I can receive out of it, but what can I give? What can I do? And I actually get so excited when these opportunities come along that are able to impact people's lives.
And speaking of impacts, because we know that franchising is a very important tool in economic empowerment, and job creation, and you are right at the center of the franchising ecosystem. So before we end off, I just want you to tell us a bit more about your role at the Franchise Association of South Africa.
Yes, thank you very much. So I am currently the chairperson elect. I will be elected as the new chairperson, basically starting from Feb 2027, and I will be taking over the role as the chairperson of the Franchise Association of South Africa. So quite interesting enough, the Franchise Association stands for ethical franchising in South Africa and stands for being able to build an ecosystem of franchisors that want to build and scale their businesses using the right methods through the compliance facility that's there. And what we do is that we ensure that we are the mediator between the franchisee and the franchisor, and ensuring that all franchisees that are registered under the franchise association are trading ethically. Because one thing that we saw is that many of the franchisors would would basically rob and steal from franchisees because they seem to be vulnerable. But now we're like, okay, you know what? The franchise association stands for ethical franchise, and my role purely is that I have a task and mandate to grow this ecosystem. I have a mandate to want to not only invest within the existing franchisees. As you know, franchise consists of so many brands, whether it is brands from Nando's to Pedro's, all of these brands, the chicken brands, whether it is fast food brands, whether it is service brands like Legends Barber, all of these brands that's in the ecosystem, these brands fall under the franchise association. But what about the brands? What about the businesses that are from the township? What about the businesses that's also starting up and want to be able to scale their business but do not know the advantages of franchising? And I understand exactly what franchising has done for my business and what it can do for so many businesses out there. So my role is being able to help the next entrepreneurs in order to franchise their business and also to root for ethical business franchising in South Africa.
And sometimes not even having that knowledge could stop someone from pursuing something great, because you think of franchising and you think it's so overwhelming. Where do I even start? There's probably a lot of red tape. It's expensive. So I understand why this association is so important. And especially for someone who has built their business from literally, as you said, one chair, one clipper to where it is now. And you've gone far beyond franchising. You now have different products as well that are unique to Legends Barber. So, and I know that some of them are here right in front of us. So maybe if you could just take us through maybe 2 or 3 of them.
Yes, so we have different grooming products. So we have our wave pomade. So just to share with you quickly, our pomade was our first commercial product. So think of it like a Coca-Cola of products. That was the product that created all of these products to actually take place, because that was our number one selling product and still is our number one selling product that actually started the ripple effect. And basically, we just tend to scale on that product. How we scale our products was based on the feedback that we got from customers. So, based on our pomade, we will then add certain lines. If customers want a certain style, we like, okay, you know what complements that pomade? Then we get brushes, then we get gels, then we get sprays, we get do-rags, and we get things that will complement that particular customer. The customer is at the heart of our business, and the customer understands what they want. The one thing I've learned is that you don't want to create a product that's not for your customer. You want to create products that your customer will actually love and enjoy. And this is exactly it. I'm sure some of these products you've never seen before because it's tailored towards our customer base. And just looking at our clippers, for example, we started our own clippers a couple of years ago. And so it's like over 2 years ago. Um, we launched our fade clippers. This was a dream that came to mind about it was late 20. I think it was around 2022. So 2022, I got a call from Metro FM, and basically they were explaining me the crisis that was currently taking place, where guys used to get these bumps within their heads, and it just caused a whole effect. And everything was discrediting the barber that was cutting hair on the side of the road. And the lady asked me, okay, so what should we then do? Should all the people then come cut their hair at Legends? And I said, no. If you think about it, everyone can't cut their hair at Legends. So what should we do? And basically, I asked that lady, and I said, think about that barber that's cutting on the side of the road. Think about what is his priority. I mean, this barber that's cutting on the side of the road only makes, let's say, 60, 70 rand a day. His priority is to feed his family come in and over day. So he's going to take that money and he's going to buy food for his family. He does not have the resources to actually be able to plow into new equipment and new things that will actually elevate his craft. So then we decided, okay, how are we able to assist this barber indirectly? So then we introduced our fade clippers. Our fade clippers not only has a not only has the capacity to be cordless and basically a runtime, so it's cordless and it can run up to 3 hours. Um, and basically, it has the capability of being able uh, to do all certain hairstyles with this clipper, and we made it so versatile enough, enabled for any barber to pick it up. But the one motto of this company is that for every 10 clippers that's bought, one pack each and every week has been donated to the barber that's in need, to that same barber that's cutting on the side of the road. And that's exactly what this company is all about. It's all about impacting those guys that does not have. And if we can do it through the freight company, why not?
And I see, there's a wide range of products here. So you have hair foam, for example, there's mousse, there's a legendary holding spray. How are the rest of the products doing?
So the products is really doing well. These are just few of the products that's here. We have a total SKU count of over 450 products now. That's in our warehouse. That's here. We actually have different. So this is one of our central warehouse distribution chains. We also have warehouse. Was sub warehouses that is based in Durban and in Cape Town, and these also distribute locally. Uh, the products have been sold in Clicks, Discam Spa, and is doing phenomenally well. Thank you very much to basically our partners that continue just to support us, and we see that the products is just getting started, because this is one of our companies that was just started out of a pomade and scaled to X number of lines over course in time.
And I know that you're, of course, still very young, but decades from now, when people look back, what would you want people to remember about you and about Legends as a business?
Thank you. So one thing that I I I want people to remember is that I think I think life is goes beyond just the the money and the profits. There's a Bible verse that says, "What does it profit man if he gains the whole world but yet loses his soul?" And I think most of the time we're so fixated on what I can take from here, but have we asked ourselves, how am I able to give? How am I able to give love? How am I able to give joy? How am I able to give patience? How am I able to give and bless somebody today? And I think if we live in a world where we're all about givers, this world will be such a great place. And if we continue just to help the people that's out there, because these are God's people, we can make such a big difference. And and right and basically you ask your question and you said, you know what, how would people, what are the words that people would like me to remember this? As there's, like Matthew 25 says, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a little. I'm going to put you in trust with what? And that's not specifically for basically money or anything, but it's purely on the number of people that have trusted in your care. And have you handled, or have you been entrusted with that people to actually take care of that people and to nurture them, to groom them? And I feel that's exactly what we're called to do.
Sure, Sheldon, thank you so much. That we are going to end our conversation for today, but thank you so much. I've really been inspired, and I think that anyone who listens to this is going to be just as inspired, because you not only decided that you're going to build this business and take yourself and your family to the top, but you've lifted so many other people with you along the way. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for sharing your journey as well. And maybe there's going to be a young child who's going to look at this, who also comes from a township, and maybe they will think, you know what, if he could do it, growing up under the same circumstances that I did, then I certainly can do it too.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for your sharing, Down. It was really good.
And thank you for joining us today. I hope that you were really inspired by Sheldon's journey. I think that, I took away a lot from this conversation, but the first thing would definitely be the importance of giving back and making an impact within your community. And then the second thing would certainly be that if you do have an idea or a vision, it is yours to run with it. Only you can make it a reality. I am Ntando Shabalala, and this has been another great conversation with SME Power Talk.